Now that's how you turn a 3-hour shit show into a 15-minute hero show, huh? Alright, today we're going to try and do a little trick here, pretending that this here engine is still mounted on the machine, which it's obviously not. Somebody did the prep work for me here, pulled the engine because they're going to take this PTO seal out that was leaking. So, I'm going to get this tape out of the way, the key in it, and see if I can get lucky. Now, the procedure would typically be to remove the engine, take the cover off, drive the seal out from the other side, put the new seal in, seal it back up. Now that's a pain in the ass and there's a whole lot of fucking around. If you can get that seal out, oh, I'm going to need that key. You can get that seal out without having to A, remove the engine, which obviously this has already had happen to it, or B, just yank that thing out. Now, I take this little screw here that I made for my slide hammer. I'm going to start with this one. Now I also had this made at some point for something. It's got like a little bird's beak on there. This too will slide onto the end of a slide hammer. So what I'm going to try and do is get in there and pop this thing out so I can pop the new one in without having to be too invasive. Ah, fuck. So you take your little slide hammer tool there, you screw this screw on there, give it a couple taps forward while you're turning the thing clockwise. I didn't think to check to make sure that the nut was actually the right size before I welded it on. Are you fucking kidding me? It's 3/8? Oh, fuck. Well, I gotta make another one. So, yeah, this is a little big. I'll have to make the screw one with the 3/8 nut. What the fuck am I doing here? So here's a little trick that I developed some time ago. I'm sure I learned it from somebody, but every once in a while when you got a slide hammer, a little 3-pound slide hammer, it's going to have a 5/16 end on it. This is a tool that they probably should have made. Take a little drywall screw, put that right in that nut, try and center it as best you can. Obviously your safety glasses, welding helmet, gloves, all that stuff in place, and shoot. Tack it in a couple of spots. Don't get crazy. And I'll show you how this might work. Oh, one more. Show you how this might work on pulling seals. Okay, I made one the right size. Let's try it with this bigger screw and the bigger nut. Ouch! Still hot. Come on now. Alright, so try not to scratch the metal surfaces, but you kind of get this centered. Now I went with a bigger screw because this is a plastic one. It's not really working so far. It cranks a little close. But if you can get that to start in there and screw in. Oh, I think I got it to bite. Come on. Come on, honey. Alright, so you get a couple of threads in. And then give it a couple taps out. Come on, baby. Come on, honey. Come on, baby. Oh! Now, pretend this still is on the machine. You could do this from the ground up, you know. Take the pulley off, jam your little tool in there, pop your seal out, and I'll put your new one in. Now, it's going to be tough to put it in straight, so what I usually use is try and find a piece of PVC or something that's about the right size of this outside diameter. Put the seal on. You might want to put a little blue glue on the outside of it, or some Permatex, some kind of a gasket sealant on the outside of the seal. Not necessary, but it's good practice. Pop that new seal back in and you wouldn't have had to pull the engine, and I don't have to take the crankcase cover off now and reseal that whole fucking mess. So there you go. You can get a slide hammer at any automotive store for about 20 bucks, and you can make any tool that you need to that didn't come with it. So there you go. Hope that works out for you. Let's just say you were lucky enough to get that seal out of there. You're in the field, you didn't have to pull the motor, engine that is, and you don't have a piece of PVC the right size. That just happens to be the case. Now, when the cover's off, you can press this in on the bench with just a regular socket or something that you probably will have handy. But if, worst case scenario, you have to attempt to push this thing in here with a punch, start by getting the seal lips over the shaft. This has all been cleaned up, by the way, and push in what you can by hand. This is a soft rubber seal, and it went in 90% of the way. And then with a punch on the outside-ish, as close you can of the diameter without scratching the metal, just give a little tap and try and get it in there flush and straight. Now, I know this isn't the right way to do it, but you just saved 3 hours of fucking around in the field, and you're probably going to get lucky. So there's not a lot of pressure on this seal. It's not a big deal as long as the crank bearings are still intact and everything's cool. This will keep going for a solid 1/4 inch, but all you got to do is really just make it basically flush with the flange. And you know, this is a 15-minute job now in the field, and you're the hero. So who cares if it's the right way to do it? If it works, cool. Now, one other thing that I noticed, this thing was over speeding in the field, and looks like somebody, a field technician perhaps, wants to make it faster, go more power. Oh, that was definitely wedged in there by a person. There's no fucking way that that happened by accident. Fucking amateurs. Now that's how you turn a 3-hour shit show into a 15-minute hero show, huh?